Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, the Fantasy Clown, along with the real Brad Smith, coming to you with the Week 6 recap. I decided to cheer for the Yankees this week as last night I saw the Bills media post put out some information that it was a total New York sweep. So the Mets won, the Yankees won, and then the Buffalo Bills won. All beat different states, with the Bills beating New Jersey. So I thought that was pretty fun to see that the actual New York team beat the New Jersey team. So kind of fun. And I always like when the media people, for teams come out with like witty, like little X feeds, I guess you could say, and little tweets that are kind of cool. But how was your week, fantasy wise, Brad?
Not so good. This week really bit me. Honestly.
Really? I last week I had 10 wins in Clown Heads. This week I had 9, so I did have one less this week. But it was for me it was pretty successful again. A lot of wins going on. So
Yeah.
I think I got my last defeated team. Like I had a team that was 0-5 coming into the week, and I think that team actually did get its first win this week. So I kind of have that, and I don't think I have any undefeated teams. Do you have any undefeated teams? Any 6-0 teams?
I do not.
I have a couple teams with the number 1 seed, in first place in the league, but they're all 5-1, those teams. So I've got a couple 5-1 teams that are in the number 1 spot, and then a couple 5-1s that are in the second spot too. That's happened a couple times to me. So, and I have a 4-2 team that I noticed today is out of the playoffs. So I thought that was kind of interesting that, actually 4-2 and not even in the playoffs. So that's, I guess we got to keep winning is the moral of that story. So, taking a look at the DraftKings, we actually only had 3 participants this week. So kind of a weird thing. I'm not sure what to do to get that built up, but if anybody wants to come take some money, that's $10 a week. And JDM Clown won with a score in the 150s, but his score, or the players he used, were Cousins, Pollard, Bucky Irvin, Chris Godwin, so a couple Buccaneers there, and then McLaurin, Cooper, who was just traded as we're recording this, Kraft, Ridley, and the Buccaneers defense is what his winning team was. I came in second place with a 127, so a lot of meat there to come get some money. So hoping that we increase that over those 3 people, in DraftKings. Maybe I'll put a little focus on that this week. Looking at our survivor pool, we have 15 players remaining coming into the week, and we left the week with 15 people still in Survivor. So while last week we had 33 people get eliminated, this week we had nobody get eliminated. So I was kind of looking over, and I think pretty much all the favorites won this week. So not a lot of upsets in fantasy football. So even though you said, hey, you had a rougher week, I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of team upsets this week.
Yeah.
And I know in my pick'em, the only one I got wrong was I took Jacksonville on Sunday morning, and that obviously looked like a train wreck. So that didn't bode well. I guess I think that Jacksonville's going to win this week on Sunday morning. What do you think, Brad?
I think Peterson's closer to losing his job than they are to winning.
Well, I think if he doesn't win, it might be like the Robert Saleh. You come back from overseas, and if he goes 0-2 over there, it's going to be ugly. I mean, they've been over there the whole time now, so they've been able to spend and get ready for. New England's getting used to the whole travel with a rookie quarterback traveling and not knowing rookie head coach traveling, where Doug Peterson's been doing this every year, and now he's stayed over for a whole week. I mean, this feels like they've been over there for a week. They're used to it. They're practicing there. They have they know the turf. They know the stadium. They're ready to roll. So I mean, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I don't think he'll survive if he loses this week. I think that'll be the end of it. And so I guess I think that, probably get a win. But some of the teams that people use to stay in the pool, the Eagles, the Packers, the Texans, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Bengals. So all 6 of those teams were teams that were chosen by the 15 people still in it. And that's kind of become what, is led to staying in it. So it'll be interesting to see who they use next week. Taking a look at our redrafts, and I always like to take a look at these. The best ball head-to-head, letter A, River AD 98 with a 281.29 was our top scorer. This is River AD's first time in the top spot in this league. Best ball head-to-head B, Bauman 011 with a 305.55. And Bauman was the top scorer in week 3 as well. So this is the second time there as the top scorer. Then we look at the redrafts that are just standard redraft head-to-heads. Redraft 1, Miley R 0568 with a 238.56. That's the first time that's back-to-back. Miley R was last week's top scorer as well. And then redraft 3, Astrodog 777, 302.47. That's the first time for Astrodog to get the top spot. I personally am in all 4 of these redrafts and really struggling in all but one of them. So really kind of a challenge. And I guess I've kind of thought a lot about it, and I think it's kind of the community is really good at fantasy football. That's what I kind of feel like, because I'm in 3 other redrafts and I'm near the top of all 3 of them. And then here in these leagues, I'm near the bottom in all these. It's kind of an interesting, I would have drafted the same time. It's just kind of an interesting, observation, I guess you could say. So, just kind of come away with that and feel like, the community's really tough. Like this is the best of the best, here. In the dynasty leagues, we have Clownhead 1, River AD 98, 259.81, and that's what I find is a lot of times people that are good in best ball or in redraft also pretty good in the dinos. In Clownhead 2, it's me, Fantasy Clown, 254.65, and my first time in the top spot here. Actually, Brad, you were the top scorer in week 3 in this league, so
we're a pretty good team in that league.
You must have a pretty good team. Was this a team that you felt like wasn't as good this week, that didn't perform like you thought it would?
I think I got a win in that league, but
okay, very good. Well, so you're staying with the winning. Clownhead 3, River AD 98, so his second time in the top spots here in the Dinos, 278.31, and he was a top scorer in week 3 as well. There, Clownhead 4, Bradge 533 with a 246.21. That's the first time that Bradge is in the top spot. And then Clownhead 5, Nino Hunt, 268.82. And just kind of taking a peek here, Nino Hunt, that's the first time in the top spots. Do you want to take a look at River AD's Clownhead 3 team? This is not one that I thought was going to be, real strong. It was our second preseason pick, though. So the computer really thought it was going to be pretty good.
I mean, for dealing with buys, this team looks pretty solid. Having Purdy and Rodgers show out, pretty nice. Even Jordan Mason getting hurt didn't seem to hurt him that much because he had J.K. Dobbins as his other guy. DJ Moore didn't have that good of a game, but Tank Dell did. Mondale Moore and Leggett were pretty average. And then Engram, Brees, and Kincaid probably were his big performers there for him. But on his bench, he had Chase Brown, Sermon, Vele, Christian Watson, even Okongwu. And then he's got Jonathan Taylor on the IR and Neighbors. I mean, this team's pretty solid, honestly.
Yeah, a lot. It looks like he has a lot of room to expand, and depth is a big key. I mean, that's what I've come away with. Is the teams with the best depth, tend to win real well in Clownheads leagues.
No other QBs though.
Yeah, that's going to be a struggle. Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for the bye weeks when week 9 and 12 come around, that's going to be a challenge there, definitely. Cloud at 6, Malaheims 278.35. We have Clown at 7, Megaido 308.26. Clown at 8, Bite My Chata Viking 274.95. Clown at 9, Kodiak Snack 276.38. And Clown Head 10, B Mark 61 306.14. So real close with the top spot here, but Megaido in Clown Head 7 was our top scorer. Megaido actually has been the top scorer in this particular league every week but week 2. So comes through strong with big numbers, but the first time the top scorer overall. So just puts out a
there's definitely a reason why. This team is good. Having Saquon, Derrick Henry, Pollard, Hubbard, and Eckler as your kind of running backs is real nice, and that's with Barkley having a down week. Lockett and Keenan Allen doesn't sound that good, but Keenan Allen had a pretty good week, and Lockett had a solid week. Kyler underperformed, and he still did well. And then he has Trey McBride, Geno Smith, and Lamar down here. So that's a pretty good starting lineup right there. He'll probably have Russell Wilson starting again this week, so he'll have a 4th QB. Looks like D-Hop and Allen Lazard. And then he's got Aaron Jones that may be back this week as well.
Looks like he's got more running backs on his taxi.
Yeah, Bucky Irvin, Braylon Allen, Guarendo.
Yeah, that's an Aaron Jones, on the IR. Yeah, it looks like he's running back strong, has enough quarterbacks to be dangerous, and might have the best fantasy tight end. So even if you give up a little bit on the receiver aspect, with this kind of setup, you're really strong. And Keenan Allen, Lockett, and Godwin aren't a bad place to start, with Lazard kind of being another option.
Yeah, not at all.
I think that's pretty good. Looking at the Elite Eight, this is a 96-team league, where the top 2 teams in each division actually go out to a big playoff. And we're getting closer and closer to that point where we really start to hone in on who those top spots are. We'll probably come at that maybe week 10, really start to highlight those top 2 teams in each division as they are each week. But until we get to week 10, we'll kind of stay on this program of just going over our top scorer each place. But this week, Division A, Deadeye Owl, 278.23. Division B, El Diaz, 292.68. Division C, The Hammer, 298.81. Division D, Pritchard 03, 284.49. Division E, Mirla 6, 270.45. Division F, River AD 98, 319.77. Division G, the Dutch Dynasty, 290.71. Division H, Cheeky Hobson, 266.23. You can bring up the River AD team in Division F. That would be awesome. And I'm just kind of looking at some of these, like the Dutch Dynasty comes through weeks 2 through 6, has been the top scorer in that division. River AD, who were as back-to-back weeks with the buys, coming through as a top scorer in all of Elite Eight. Miralus was the top scorer in all of the Elite Eight in week 4 and was the top in the division in week 1. So real strong teams. Pritchard, was the top scorer in week 1. So we're seeing a repeat there. The Cammer, was one of our preseason, picks there as well. El Diaz comes back weeks 5 and 6 as the top scorer. So that's a real solid team. And Deadeye Owl was another team that we picked in the preseason as an up and coming team and first time in the top score. But it seems like teams are beginning to separate and are who they are now. So it's kind of cool to watch that progression. What do you have here on the team?
Yeah, River AD is definitely a common name today.
Yeah.
Obviously having Josh Allen and Jordan Love as your top 2 QBs is real nice in this league. And then he has Jordan Mason and Jahmyr Gibbs, who really didn't even do what they usually do. AJ Brown, Drake London, Jaden Reed all had solid days, and Brian Thomas had a down day. But having Kittle and Ingram really helped him out, and then Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Looks like he's got plenty of QBs with Nix, Trevor, and Baker. And then J.K. Dobbins on the bench, Jalen Warren on the bench, Kyron on bye, Mostert on bye, Christian Watson, Odunze, Jonnu Smith, Otten, Conklin, and even Fant. I mean, this team is good.
Yeah, I'm thinking that same thing. I'm like, holy shit, he can take, basically can withstand injuries. He's like ready to go. What is Conklin on there too? So he's got tight ends to burn.
Yeah, Conklin, Jonnu, Otten.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking there saying buys, injuries to the receivers, to the running backs, to the quarterbacks, to tight ends. It really doesn't matter, what he has. He's there. What do you think of the trade of Adams to the Packers? Do you think that helps or hurts the Breece Hall, the Garrett Wilson shares? I mean, we see that as a common player there on his team.
I don't think it affects his Hall shares, but I think it will affect Wilson.
Does it affect Wilson positively or negatively? I mean, obviously the double coverage now rolls away from Wilson and the best cornerback on a team like
I don't think
Surtain goes to Adams as opposed to going to Wilson.
I don't think Wilson was getting double teamed that much. I think it was more Rodgers likes his guys no matter what.
Okay.
Adams is definitely his guy.
Yeah. Okay. So you feel like the target share might drop a little bit for Wilson in the 5 to 6 range as opposed to the 8 to 9 range.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But maybe he's open. Maybe he's wide open at that point. So it'll be interesting to watch that progress, there as well. Looking at the Big 8, another 96-team league. We've got Steelers Nation in Division S, 66, with a 265.45. Division T, we have Noisy Silence, 274.95. Division U, French Quarters, 255.26. Division V, Pritchard 03, 267.35. Division W, Philip Rupert, 286.81. Division X, Jello Magnetti, 300.06. Division Y, Kamish, 261.59. Division Z, Pants Pooper, 263.92. And while you bring up Division X's Jello Magnetti, just kind of a highlight here. I see that Pritchard 03 leads both of his divisions in these large 96-team leagues. So that's challenging. I mean, to have solid teams in both of these different formats, because the formats are, while the scoring stays the same, the starting positions are so different and how you have to build your team. So a testament to Pritchard with, kind of getting that done. This is the first time Pritchard has been the top scorer in V. So that is the first time there. Steelers Nation was back in week 4, was the top score getter. Noisy Silence, jumps in for the first time. French Quarters jumps in for the first time. And Philip Rupert actually was back in week 4 as well. So that must have been kind of a duplicate week. And Jello Magnetti, first time on the board, but with the top scorer. And Pants Pooper, first time on the board as well. So,
I mean, just taking a look at Jello's team, it looks like he finally had all of his tight ends hit.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he just loaded up the tight ends.
I mean, Trevor had a decent game, and Bijan finally had a good game. Flowers had a good game, but, I mean, he's starting Ilyasovis as his second receiver. And then having Fant, Ingram, Kraft, Andrews, Komet, Bowers, and Kincaid in there definitely helped. He's got Levis. Doesn't look like he has a third QB.
Well, maybe he has Winston coming. Do you think Winston gets the nod here at some point, or do you think it's?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if the Browns can afford to do that.
You might be right. I mean, the trade of Amari Cooper today, you wonder if it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm really not sure. But but it looks like he's
Do you
got
think that
Emmanuel
signals an
Wilson.
end for Nick Chubb, or do you think Nick Chubb stays there?
Like next year.
Well, I meant even this year, trading him to the Dallas Cowboys or somewhere like that.
I don't think he'll get traded this year.
I didn't know for a quarterback needy team, maybe Minnesota, somewhere like that.
Oh, it looks like he's got Carr on the bench here. Hawkinson on IR. So he's got another tight end coming back. That's
Yeah, he's
crazy.
got him. I'll give him that.
He has all of them. I mean, tight ends run through this guy in this league.
Well, and as you know, with 3-point PPR, tight ends matter. I mean, they really can make it's one way to build a team. It really is.
For sure.
It's definitely one way to build a team. Are you now we're through 6 weeks, and as you look at your teams, you said you had a rougher week. What do you feel like if you had advice to give to a dynasty player, what would be the advice that you would do after week 6? Are you, just kind of still watching your guys? Are you still looking for the right deal? Are you aggressively out making deals? Are you hitting the waiver wire hard? What would be your advice to a fantasy player, especially a tournament fantasy player like we have here in our leagues?
I mean, in Dynasty, I'm definitely still being patient. Redraft, I might start panicking a little bit if I'm 2-4.
Yeah.
But in Dynasty, I think you just kind of hold tight to the Garrett Wilson type guys. Shouldn't have sold him low after the first 4 weeks.
And I guess I'm just now, as you said that, I'm pulling up some of my redraft teams. What about in redraft? What are you feeling like record wise or insurmountable to overcome?
I mean, probably anything 2 and 4 below at this point. Like you're kind of trying to get anything going. Like you might make some crazy trades at this point.
I mean, I'm sitting with a 1-5 and 0-6. So I do have an 0-6, in Cloudhead 3. And, I'm just 1-5 in active A. And so, yeah. And then 4-2 in the other one. So, I mean, enough, good enough 4-2s in the mix, there. So just trying to keep it going, I guess you could say. And what's really funny is the team that's, 1-5 and 4-2, the scores are about the same. The weekly score is about the same. Just a matter of what they are. It's kind of an ironic thing. And how the same team performs, gets a win in one league and doesn't get another win. That 240 number, can win in some leagues and it doesn't win in others. But and then those 200 numbers again tend to win in the dynos, all the same kind of scoring thing. It's just an interesting, observations here. I got a whole lot of 240 point wins, but in that redraft where I'm just getting kicked, it never wins. So
yeah.
That's kind of would be my advice as well, is to, I stay very focused on where I am and where I'm trying to go. I'm really slow to punt. I have been looking around though at people that have players on bye and need wins. And if I'm in a position where maybe I have a decent record, especially in redraft, I'm looking to acquire players like CD Lamb this week, like Hill last week. I was really looking to, be aggressive. Maybe Cooper Kupp, another guy in redraft that I'm looking to update, and just trying to, create maybe guys that, Nico Collins, if somebody needs a receiver, I'm looking at the Nico Collins owner, seeing what they have available. When I see things, I'm not as anxious to go get Christian McCaffrey just yet because I feel like we're still a month away. I don't necessarily have to, punt.
I mean, you're a month away from Nico Collins at least.
Well, we might be.
He's on IR.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, we got some time there with Nico. I agree with that. And any other last minute advice here before we depart from our week 6 recap, Brad?
Not too much. Let's get some guys in that DraftKings this week, huh?
Yeah, let's get that up. $10 to get in DraftKings. Check out the Discord. That's where the invite link is. And yeah, let's fill that thing up and make it $10 and let's get 100 out to the winner. Let's get 15 or 20 people in it to make it a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned for some future weeks. We do have a playoff tournament that is going to be run by one of our members, and so just kind of stay tuned for that. That'll be through DraftKings as well. So that should be a lot of fun and keep people playing playoff football. So that'll be fun. So for now, I'm the Fantasy Clown. That's the real Brad Smith. We'll see you next week.